Prayer is a powerful force in marriage. It can move mountains. But the most important journey in prayer begins within. Before we can pray effectively for our husbands, we must first look inward. We must examine our own hearts. Many women approach prayer with a fix-it mentality. They see their husband's flaws and pray for change. While it's natural to want the best for our spouses, demanding change often leads to frustration. True transformation in marriage starts with our own spiritual growth. When we pray for our husbands, we must start by praying for ourselves. Ask God to reveal any areas in your own life that need attention. Are you harboring resentment? Are you holding on to past hurts? Ask God to soften your heart and give you His perspective. As we surrender our desires to God, He begins to work in us. He reveals our own shortcomings and guides us toward healing. This inner transformation is crucial. It prepares our hearts to pray for our husbands with love, grace, and understanding. I remember when I first started praying for my husband, Michael. My prayers sounded something like this: Lord, change him. Make him more patient, more understanding, more romantic. I was so focused on his flaws that I couldn't see my own. It took time, but God gently nudged me toward a different kind of prayer. He showed me that my focus was misplaced. Instead of demanding change in Michael, I needed to ask God to change me. This was a turning point in my prayer life. I began to pray, Lord, make me a better wife. Show me how to love Michael unconditionally. Help me to see him through your eyes. This shift in perspective changed everything. As I prayed for God to work in me, I became more aware of my own shortcomings. I saw how my words and actions affected Michael. I realized that I couldn't change him, but I could change myself. Praying for your husband is not always easy. There will be times when you feel discouraged. You may wonder if your prayers are even making a difference. I've been there. I remember feeling frustrated when Michael didn't change overnight. I questioned whether prayer was really working. But God reminded me that He is in control. He has a perfect plan for our lives, even when we don't understand it. During these times, it's important to hold on to faith. Remember that God hears your prayers, even when you don't see immediate results. He is working behind the scenes, in ways you may not always see. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on God's promises. Remind yourself of His faithfulness. Cling to His word and trust that He is working all things together for good. Section 4. Finding peace in the process. Letting go and letting God. One of the hardest things about praying for your husband is learning to let go. It's tempting to try to control the situation, to manipulate things to get the outcome we desire. But God doesn't work that way. He wants us to surrender our desires to Him. He wants us to trust that He knows what's best for our marriages. When we let go of our need to control, we allow God to work freely in our lives. This doesn't mean we stop praying for our husbands. It simply means we release the outcome to God. We pray with open hands, trusting that He will answer our prayers in His perfect timing. As we learn to let go and let God, we find peace in the process. We no longer feel the weight of trying to change our husbands. We rest in the knowledge that God is in control. Section 5. Witnessing transformation. The power of a changed heart. The most amazing thing about praying for your husband is that God doesn't just change him, He changes you. As you surrender your desires to God and allow Him to work in your heart, you'll begin to notice a transformation taking place within yourself. You'll become more patient, more understanding, and more forgiving. You'll see your husband through eyes of love and compassion. Your words will be seasoned with grace, and your actions will be motivated by love. This transformation won't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey of faith. But as you continue to pray for your husband and for yourself, you'll witness the power of God's love at work in your life and in your marriage. You may not always see the changes in your husband that you're praying for, but as you focus on your own spiritual growth, you'll find that your perspective changes. You'll begin to appreciate the good in your husband, even when he's not perfect. You'll learn to love him unconditionally, just as Christ loves you. Section 6. A love transformed. The fruits of a praying wife. The power of a praying wife cannot be underestimated. When a wife commits to praying for her husband, she unleashes a force that can transform her marriage. But the transformation begins within her own heart. As you embark on this journey of prayer, remember these key insights. Start with yourself. Before you can pray effectively for your husband, ask God to reveal any areas in your own life that need attention. Focus on your own spiritual growth. The greatest gift you can give your husband is your own transformed heart. Let go and let God. Surrender your desires to God and trust that He knows what's best for your marriage. Be patient and persistent. Transformation takes time. Don't give up on your husband or on your marriage. The journey of a praying wife is a lifelong pursuit. It's a commitment to love, faith, and unwavering prayer. As you seek God's will for your marriage and surrender your desires to Him, you'll discover the transformative power of prayer and witness its beautiful effects on your heart, your husband, and your marriage.